With Throne and Liberty probably releasing in the next few months, there's a bunch of things we've learned from the recent trailers, and today we're gonna look at those, especially at the weapons. Now, we've seen a bunch of different weapons, 7 I think in total at the moment. I'm sure there will be more to come, and also we've seen one specific ability even fully described in English already, so we'll look at that as well. Let's get to analyzing. So the 7 weapons we have seen so far are Sword and Shield, Greatsword, daggers, crossbows, a normal bow, which I think is a short bow, but there's probably some experts in the comments, a staff, which is magic mostly, we've seen a lot of fire magic from that, and a scepter plus book, which seems to be more of a supportive type of weapon. Now, before we get into the specifics of each weapon, I want to mention one thing very quickly, and that is in one of the beta highlights we've seen, they've showcased a little window where you can actually see which skills and abilities you've equipped for each weapon. So as far as I can tell, you can get up to 8 abilities locked in, although in a lot of the footage we've seen as well, those 8 spots might be occupied by consumables as well. So I'm not sure if there will always be abilities in those 8 slots, or if they change that now and you can actually have consumables on different buttons. But overall, up to 8 abilities per weapon seems to be the case, and that is also reaffirmed once again in the latest video, which showcased a fully kitted greatsword in the ability window down there. Also, one quick thing to mention, you can see a bunch of different colors in those abilities at the bottom, and that might be an indicator of actual quality of the skill rather than the type of skill it is. Now, to fully understand this, we will have to look at other footage we've seen already. Initially, I thought this would indicate like, oh, the first one is utility and movement, the second one is defensive, the blue one, and the red one is attacks, but that doesn't seem to be the case, and here's why. Now, watch this short clip very closely. Now, if you look at the first 2 abilities in the ability bar of the character, you can see 2 shield-specific abilities that change color. So now this probably has to do with the quality of the skill, and there's one indicator that shows us that might be the case, which is also actually seen in this clip, and it's called Shadow Chaser. This is the only ability we've seen with a full description already, and let's analyze this for 1 second. There's a bunch of things we can actually see right here. First of all, there's a tier 1 symbol here, and it's an active skill. On top of that, we obviously know that it's red in this case. Isn't that red tint indicated by the name here as well, which is called Shadow Chaser Epic? So maybe there's a quality to each skill that you can upgrade, and therefore the color of the skill changes. On top of that, we see it's a dagger ability. We see the cooldown, we see what kind of ability it is, and how far it goes, the mana, Stella Boom, I'm not 100% sure yet what that means. And on top of that, we see a description. A skill that allows you to move behind a target and deal damage equal to 100% of base damage so quickly that only the trailing edge of your shadow is visible. A 60% chance of decreasing the target's movement speed by 50% for 6 seconds. Now, we've seen this ability actually in one of the trailers already. Just by this indicator, I think it's very fair to say that there's a quality to each skill, and that might change the color depending on, you know, how good the ability is. Now, there's one more quick thing that I want to mention here from the previous clip, and that is we see the Shadow Chaser ability, which we now know is a dagger ability, within the toolkit of a sword and shield wielder. Now, how does that work? I'm not entirely sure. Maybe you can use some abilities to instantly swap weapons, or maybe this is just a placeholder and I'm overanalyzing this, which is very likely, but that's also something to keep in mind. So there's 2 more things I want to highlight really quick that we've also seen in the previous trailer that are really important to gameplay. So the first thing is a little bit of a combo we can see a sword/staff class is using. So first of all, they're hitting everyone around them with a big stun AoE from the sword, and then they swap the weapons basically instantly to cast a huge meteor on the stunned targets to obliterate all of them. So that basically means weapon swapping is quite fast, and maybe even something along the lines of Guild Wars 2, or I don't know about BDO, but we'll see about that. And lastly, I wanted to showcase a little bit of a parry system, maybe something like deflecting in Sekiro, where if you shield or protect yourself at the correct time, you can actually stagger the mob and get an advantage over that. It even looks like in some weapons that one stuns. So that's also very interesting to note, and I wonder if that works in PvP as well. And that's all I wanted to talk about for today. I hope this gave you a little bit of an insight on some of the more advanced systems in the game, or well, potentially advanced systems in the game. Obviously, all of this is still in a testing period, and obviously we don't actually get to play it yet, so testing these things out will be really fun, and I hope you guys stick around for that one. Feel free to sub, and I'm also over on Twitch streaming MMOs almost every day. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and I hope you have a great day. Peace.